Jack, your big league career spanned from 1987 to 1999, 12 years as we mentioned before. You were in the beginning part and then the height of the steroid era. When you were on the mound and you were pitching, did you notice the advantage that some of these more buff guys, I guess, started to have upon you?
Well, I mean, yeah, you knew, and it was widespread.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a couple guys doing it, which is, a couple guys in major leagues have been shunned because they were the superstars at the time that did it. But I'm just going to tell you right now that there are Hall of Famers that are in the Hall of Fame right now that were users.
Yeah.
And they're shunning these certain guys because they're like, oh, well, these guys were users. Well, you know what, guys, play that game. It was widespread, and a lot more people were using than your average person would think.
So you actively saw it behind the scenes for a long time while Major League Baseball kind of tried to brush it under the rug and didn't address it?
I'll be absolutely honest. I didn't see anything.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'll also be absolutely honest, just like anybody who's looking from the outside, you know who it was and who it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to figure out, which the media who's taken this stance against the five guys that they have, being Clemens, Bonds, McGuire, Sammy Sosa, they're hammering those guys. Meanwhile, they're voting in guys to the Hall of Fame who were users as well. I'm not saying every guy that's come out of our era was, but they're in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make it like they're holier than thou, and we only vote for guys who are clean and this and that. And come on. We all were there. We all watched it. We all watched the physical changes. We all watched the injuries that were telltale. And you know what? That's just what was going on at the time. I don't have any ill feelings over it. I'm glad that I didn't get into it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie to you also. Had it been put in front of me and they told me, hey, you're going to recover quicker and you're going to be able to bring your A game a lot quicker back here, I would have been tempted to do it too. Hey, it wasn't illegal at the time at our thing, and it's like, hey, why not? Wow, I'm going to try that. Anyone tells you they have something that's going to make you better, you're probably going to try it, and that's why a lot of these guys got caught up in it.
I look at it from the fans' perspective in today's baseball, and those repeat offenders. You think of the Alex Rodriguez's, the Ryan Brauns, the Bartolo Colons, who's 45 and threw a complete game recently. There doesn't seem to be a strict enough punishment, and if they're being put something in front of them and being told you're going to get better, then I would imagine they'd take it because it's going to result in a lot more money and a longer career. Should there be stricter punishment for it?
I mean, they could address it, but they have to have the testing system better than they do now.
Yeah.
It's not a very, I know baseball say we have one of the toughest testing systems, but you know what? This stuff nowadays, and it's not like people aren't doing it nowadays. This stuff clears your system in less than 2 days. So if you aren't getting tested within 2 days, you're not getting caught. Most of the guys getting caught nowadays are the guys that are back to back within a week, and they'll be the ones that admit it. Hey, yeah, they tested me twice in a week, and so I thought I was clear to go jump on something, and there you go.
Let's move on from baseball. More interesting guy, Jack McDowell, the baseball player, Jack McDowell, the musician?
Probably the baseball player because, I was kind of a music nerd too. I know a lot about music and all that kind of stuff, but just a little bit different personality guys, I guess.
You had a few bands that you put together. Stick Figure was one of them.
Yeah, was it? I was with the first band that I ever did was View, called View. And we put out a record and an EP. And then I formed Stick Figure after View opened up for the Smithereens one winter, and I was able to pull the sound man at the time who also played guitar. We became good friends on that tour, and he ended up playing guitar in my band. Michael Hamilton, he played guitar and Stick Figure for all the way through, and Mike Maceros from the Smithereens played bass on all my stuff after that as well. We all became good friends, and so that's how Stick Figure formed. And we did about, I don't want to say four or five records, something like that, with Stick Figure.
How'd you get started into playing music?
I started taking lessons when I think I was 11 years old. I just really liked, I liked music. I was into it. And wanted to learn how to play. And so I just started taking lessons and took lessons for 2 years. Was kind of self-taught after that, and picked it up, put it down for a number of years. But I really got into it again when I signed professionally. So I signed professionally after my junior year with Stanford. After the season was over, I went back to finish my academic career at Stanford. So I went back that first year, and I was up there, and all the guys are going to practice, and I was just sitting there going, I was bored. I'm like going, wait a minute, all I have to do is school? So what am I going to do? I'm just going crazy up here. So I brought my guitar up and just started playing, and then we'd mess around and started writing songs, and that was where the first band, Lee Plemmel, who was my roommate at Stanford, and he went back for his senior year, we just started writing together, and he had some piano background, so he grabbed a bass, and we did what you do. You start writing songs, and then you said, what do you do now? You record them, right? That's what we did.
There you go. The nickname Blackjack, you've embraced it. Some people don't always embrace nicknames. You've embraced it. How did the nickname come about? Is it just the simple play on words from the card game, or is there a greater story there?
Hawk Harrelson, who is like the nickname guru around the White Sox, just started calling me that. Yeah, started calling me that, and I had no idea for the longest time that he was using that for me. Blackjack McDowell, I had no idea, because you aren't watching the broadcast of the game. You're out in the dugout watching the game. I had no idea until we were in Minnesota at the beginning of either the 92 or 93 season. Kirby Puckett walks by, and he goes, hey, Blackjack, what's going on? And I was like, hey, Puck, how are you? And he walked away, and I turned to, I think, Robin Ventura, and I said, what did he just call me, Blackjack? What is that? And he said, I don't know, I think Hawk's calling you that or something. And so that's when I first learned of it. And Hawk's story is that someone hit a home run off me. A rookie hit a home run off me in Seattle, and was a little too pumped about it, and took a little too long getting out of the box and running around the bases. And he said, I was staring him down like I was a gunfighter, ready to pull. He was just like a cowboy, Blackjack McDowell, ready to pull his gun on the kid running around the bases. And that was the story I heard.
When I ask around town, and I talk about Queens and Queens athletics and the new baseball program, whenever I say Jack McDowell, the average baseball fan knows exactly who I'm talking about. When I say Blackjack is the new head coach, that seems to transcend the sport. It's almost a level of celebrity in a way beyond baseball. So you've embraced the nickname. Do you realize almost in a way what it's done for you in your career, and the fact that Hawk Harrelson kind of settled on that phrase?
Oh yeah, there's a lot worse you could come up with. That's definitely. So it was, it's always been an interesting one, and yeah, that's just kind of what I've been known as. It's funny because a lot of kids, when I'll start coaching them, will be like, well, what are we supposed to call you? Do we call you Blackjack? Do we call you Coach? Do we call you, what are we supposed to call you? I'm like, whatever you want, man, I don't care.
So you're okay if I just went up to you and walked around the hallway and said, hey, Blackjack, what's
going
on?
That's kind of like my moniker now, so what can you do?
I've seen it on a T-shirt that you're wearing.
Oh yeah, there's the carving station. That was actually the carving station over at Carolina's Baseball Center. Was the first where I actually put together my pitching conditioning program and ran through a bunch of high school kids last year through the majority of it.
You've been doing a lot of individual clinic style work. Will you continue doing that as you take upon this endeavor?
Well, it's going to change once September hits and I start doing this full time, every day with my own team here at Queens. It's we'll have to play it by ear and see how much time I'm going to have to be able to go in and work with younger kids and stuff like that. But I'll still be helping out with my 8-year-olds team and things like that, and the 8-year-old travel team and all that kind of stuff. I'll be, as much time as I have free to do that, I'll be working with them.
So then, here's the question that can't go without ignoring. How did a 12-year MLB vet, 3-time All-Star, once a Cy Young Award winner, end up at a Division II school with a brand new program? How'd that happen?
Well, we moved to Charlotte 4 years ago.
Okay.
And the first 2 years I was with the Dodgers, managing in their rookie ball. And so I was kind of out of touch with Charlotte. I was like, right when I stepped foot in here, they sent me away for 7 months, for the first 2 years. So the last 2 years I had been hanging in Charlotte and just wondering, okay, so I started working at Carolina's Baseball Center and was doing that, and we had a couple, irons in the fire about what we were going to do over there. But I missed being on the field. in teaching baseball at that different level. It's one thing doing lessons, that's great. You get a little bit of positive feedback when kids get it and you see changes and things like that. But I never really wanted to do that. There's just a bigger baseball picture that I think when you get on the field with a group of guys of things that I can show them and things that we can teach out there. So that had always been in the back of my mind to get a team. And about 2 years ago, before Queens even announced that they were going to do baseball, there was some buzz going around that they were talking about it. And my buddy was an assistant basketball coach at Flagler University, and he heard through his athletic director that Queens was exploring baseball. So he called me up and said, "Hey, you know what? I just heard there's a university in Charlotte, a D2, that might be trying to start a baseball program." I said, "Queens University, do you know where that is?" And I said, "Yeah, it's right around the corner from my house. It's like less than a mile from my house. That's crazy." So I was like, "Wow, that would be interesting. It'd be fun." So I threw a resume together, sent an email to our athletic director, Sherry Swartout, and she sent me back the next day. "Oh, thanks for your interest, but we are not starting a baseball program. I'm not sure where you heard that. Thanks for your interest." And that was it. And I was like, "Oh man, come on, you made me look like a dummy." I said, "I sent this thing out there." Well, didn't think anything about it for about a year, and then just got an email from Sherry saying, "Hey, we're interested in talking about how we would go about doing this." So I wasn't sure if they were interested in me running the program, or they just wanted me to talk to them about how we would go about, what the cost would be, what they would need, things like that. So that all kind of moved forward, and then we eventually, talked to each other and said, "So are you thinking of me coaching?" And they were like, "Well, we didn't know if you wanted to or not." So I was like, "Well, yeah, that's why I'm doing all this." So that was how it all came about.
Perfect fit. There are different challenges about starting a program than just stepping into a ready-made program. Little things. I heard you talking the other day about having a tarp for the field. What's the biggest challenge about starting a program, especially something in Division II, where there isn't as much of the draw that Division I has, and it is a little bit tougher to gather the facilities and everything that you need?
Well, starting a program, it's crazy just because, like you were talking, what do we need? Everything. And when you start thinking,
mound
well, what is everything? You're talking from rakes to drags to bases to home plates to pitching rubbers to screens.
Bleachers.
Bleachers, baseballs, uniforms,
bats,
fungos, bats, helmets.
Batting
you start
gloves.
going, and I'm thinking, I keep going through the list every day going, I know that we're going to get out there and I will have forgotten something. So,
sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds.
Bubble gum.
Bubble gum, yeah. They have stopwatches.
Stopwatch, pitch counters,
hey,
scorecards.
Stop it. Pitch counters. You're not going to see me with a pitch counter.
Sorry.
So,
we'll go by feel as we're watching these Queens
right.
baseball games.
You know
we'll
what?
see if he has the feel.
The other team lets you know when you're done.
True.
So there.
How about recruiting? You've never had to recruit before. You've never been a college coach
before. Never had to
before.
recruit, and probably, looking back on it, I brought in 20 guys. Yeah. We have 20 guys in this team, and that's exactly the number I was looking for, and the breakdown's pretty close position-wise, what I wanted to be able to get through this first year, and I wanted to take my time and make sure it was guys that were going to stick. It'd be real easy to just go, yeah, we have a new program, who wants to come play, and have guys that realistically, when you have a year now to recruit the next class, won't be able to stick around talent-wise. But we were able to pull in a really good group of guys for this first class. And probably, you look, and the normal recruiting year is going to be 7 guys that you have to bring in. Bringing in 20, that's a lot of work. And having to start in late February, which is what we did, that was it was a lot of work, a lot of hours put in, but it's gone really well, and I'm extremely excited for the group we have coming in.
Coaching staff? Have to find one of those too.
Yeah, we forgot about that. We're still. I have my number one assistant is on board. Of course, while I was starting this, he was still working at Brunswick Community College, and so it wasn't like he could just jump on board and help with all this stuff. So he has been helping me out now with a lot of the logistics that have been going on, and now we're, going full time here and getting ready to roll. And the buddy that I mentioned was the basketball coach at Flagler. I've asked him to come on board too. He's coached baseball with me as well out at the high school level in San Diego, and that's Andrew Knight is my number one assistant. Al Dassman's my number two. We have a couple other people in the mix right now coming on to be the coach for next year, one of them. One of the biggest issues is for next year, while we're still at the club level, we're not at the intercollegiate level yet, the assistant positions are volunteers. So that's tough for someone to say, oh yeah, I want to jump on board with that and make no money and come out there and work every day, with the hopes that I'm going to get a salaried position the following year. So we're just kind of, easing into it right now.
With your plan, not following pitch counts, will you be your own pitching coach?
I am for the main part. I'm gonna have my hands in just about everything that goes on with this team, all positions, everything. And I'll be my own pitching coach, but I never was the guy. I never wanted to be a pitching coach, but I always told everybody, I'm not going to be the guy that you're going to want to see as a pitching coach because I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to sit back and watch most of the time and watch what guys do. Occasionally I'd say something, but you're not going to be the guy that you're going to go, this guy doesn't teach me anything. Meanwhile, the little things that I'm giving him are, I'm not a coach every pitch type of guy.
So you're not into calling the game for the pitchers and catchers?
I'm probably going to do that. I'm probably going to do that. I just think it will be such an advantage that I can't not do that for everybody's sake. But it's going to be a learning thing for everybody as well. I called pitches while I was at the high school level, but I would always make our other pitchers stand around and we'd talk through it. Hey, what'd you see right there? What would you go with while I was calling the pitch? So they would learn while it was going. It wasn't like they were just being taught how to do stuff.
What do you dislike more, pitch count or bunting?
Both. Both.
I know you're not a fan of the bunt.
I'm not a fan of the bunt. I am in certain situations, and hey, if you want to bunt for a base hit, and guys are giving you that, I'm all for that. I'm not all for sack bunting early in games. My philosophy, and I point it out to guys all the time, is you win and lose games in the first inning, a lot. And I don't know what percentage it would be, and it's not that the run you score in the first inning is the run that puts you ahead for good. But if you can put up numbers in that first inning, you have a great chance of winning the game. A big percentage of starting pitchers take time to get into it. Okay, they aren't going to be themselves in that first inning. Guys take a couple innings to get settled. First inning, you have the top of your lineup going in there. Why you would have your 3 and 4 hitter bunt so you could get one run, I don't understand. I never have. Being a pitcher, my offensive philosophies come from being a pitcher. Do I want to free out when maybe I got guys on and I'm struggling in the first inning, and a 3-hole or 4-hole hitter's bunting to me to give an out? I'm laughing. I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
No, it makes sense. It's a free out. It's another thing in. Maybe they're wrong, but the analytics guys and the top-end baseball scouts in today's game, they disagree with you a little bit on that.
Well, I don't think the analytics guys do. The analytics has come out that they don't like sack bunts. They don't like
swing away.
You
want your players swinging away.
I want to put up numbers.
You sound like a fun coach to play for.
Yeah, you're not gonna get cheated. We're not gonna be hitting the ball into the ground. We're not gonna be hitting and running all the time. It's specific situations that we're going to do stuff like that. Otherwise, we're going to teach you how to approach an at bat. I'm going to be able to offer a heck of a lot on the hitting end, just based on being a pitcher. How guys are going to go after you, what they're going to try to do, what their repertoire is that day, what they're struggling with, what maybe he's giving away, what he's patterned by. That stuff is the stuff that's going to make guys better, not all the repetition and, well, you have to have this certain load as a hitter to do this, or you have to have a leg kick, or you can't have a leg kick. No, how do you go get the ball? You go do that on your own. Figure that out, because there's no one way to do it. And we'll teach you how to approach it.
As you build the foundation of this program, what's the mantra that you would like your team, your players to embody?
It's compete. To compete. Compete and compete hard. And that's it.
That simple.
You go after baseball. Baseball is the one sport that you can be absolutely out-talented and win a game. And if you go out there in football and they're bigger, stronger, faster, they're going to run over you. You go out there in baseball and they're bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, you're going to get killed. You go out there in baseball, one thing about baseball is you can execute everything perfectly and still fail. And that's why you can be out-talented, and if you just compete, you can win in baseball.
Well, a club team next year in 2018, and then in 2019, a Division II NCAA program. Black Jack McDowell here to start the program at Queen's University of Charlotte. This was an absolute pleasure, Jack. We'll do it again sometime. Best of luck.
All right.
Thanks for doing it.